Welcome to the Murphy, Sam, and Jodi After the Show podcast.
Parents, moms, especially of little children, you need to know. I want to tell you a story, and it's been many years in the making for me to hear these words come back to me. The little things that you do, little things that you obsess about. I hope you don't obsess too much, but I know when your children are small, you do. The kids do notice it. And I say this because of a conversation we had the other day at Mother's Day at dinner. So after we saw the Michael Jackson movie with our girls, Murphy, for Mother's Day, we went and we met my mom. So my mom could be there too, and my brother, like a family dinner at a restaurant, Mexican restaurant, my favorite food. And we're just having a good time. And Phoebe was sitting directly across from me. She's our little historian. And Nana's sitting right next to me, my mom. And Taylor's also right there. And it's like, Phoebe said, "Hey, so what are your favorite stories of motherhood? What are your favorite stories, either between each other or what do you remember most about when we were little?" And I was like, "Whoa, I'm just not ready for this. What were my favorite parts?"
Yeah, you really have to stop and think for a minute.
Right. I hated that because, since that time, I've got all kinds of things dinging my brain at night. But we just started having all these really great conversations, and then it flipped to where Phoebe and Taylor were saying, "I remember this, and this was great, and I loved this." And I had never, Murphy, they had never told me. I didn't even realize that they ever knew about the snack thing. So one of the things I was obsessive about was, we've always done this job, this work, this morning show where I was always busy in the mornings. I didn't get to always be the one to drive them to school.
Right. So it was carpool in the afternoon.
Carpool in the afternoon. I did not miss it for anything in the world. I was always sometimes like the first mom in line, like, okay, I'm here. And I always was obsessive almost about making sure I had a snack for them in the back seat. I can remember leaving work some afternoons and just watching the time. What am I going to get them? Did I prepare it? Is there a snack back there? Or is there a snack in a cooler in the car? I was obsessive about I know they not only
they're hungry.
They might be hungry, but just that's a way of mom loving them. Right. I wanted them to know that that's one way of me loving you. Mm-hmm. I know that was my thing. I know for a fact that we could have been home in 5 minutes and had a snack. So anyway, she said that. Phoebe said, "I really loved it when you picked us up and you always had a snack." I almost fell out of my chair when she said that. Mm-hmm. I thought that was my secret obsession. I didn't realize that she knew that I always would have a snack. And I remember thinking, I didn't say it at the table, but you have no idea how I obsessed about that. Like how many times I barely made it to Carpool just to make sure that I had cheese sticks back there and almonds or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I also wanted to keep it not predictable. Sometimes I'd roll in there with a Uncrustable. That was a good day for them. That was like, wow. And sometimes it was like, I'm sorry, it's a granola bar. But it's just, those are the little things that you do, and you may even forget about them. Carpool is not a part of my life anymore, Murphy. It was such a huge part of my life. In fact, I used to do, that's the first place I ever did a Facebook Live. For Murphy, Sam, and Jodi. I was sitting in Carpool going, here I am in Carpool again.
Oh, really? Okay. Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah. It's such a special moment in time, too, because you see those kids come out and get lined up and you're looking at them. I'm like, I can tell something's wrong, or I can tell this is a good day, or I can tell as soon as those doors close, I'm going to hear about something because you know your child so well and you're watching them like a hawk from across the parking lot, But just those little things that you do and obsess about, even if you think it's just your own thing and it's forgotten, it's not.
Yeah.
The kids do know and pay attention to those things.
Yeah, and there's also the things that mom does that she does just because she's a mom that she doesn't necessarily obsess about, but doesn't realize the impact and what those memories, actually are. And some are funny, and some are different. Like, my mom, with the some of the meals that she would put together. We've talked about that before, where she was a hardworking mom, and so a lot of things would be made from the can that night if there wasn't a whole lot of time to do anything, or wasn't any time to do anything from scratch, But those wound up being some of our favorite silly meals, or tuna casserole inside of Kraft macaroni and cheese, which sounds disgusting, but it's actually better than you think.
Well, it's good to you if your mama made it.
A true tuna casserole with fresh noodles is probably even better if you like that.
Yeah.
But it's the she would do the whole surprise every now and then. Fast food. She found a bunch of coupons and then come home with a ton of stuff on a Friday night. And so that was fun. When you saw hamburgers and hot dogs and all that everywhere. It was like, oh my God, it was like a party.
Yeah. I can remember my mom would always tuck us in, and she would go to my brother's room, and then she would come to my room, and she would just kiss me on the head or the face and say good night and leave. It wasn't a long drawn out thing, but I looked so forward to it. Like I needed it so badly, and I love the way she smells and all of that. And that was a tiny little thing that meant a great deal to me. So all the things you do, as involved as you can be, even if it's not, even if you're splitting the household and you're apart, you only have your kids half the time. The little things that you do as a caregiver, I imagine. For your kids, Sam, it's your cooking for them.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because talking to my son, Will, a couple weeks ago, he started raving about when I would make grilled cheese or grilled ham and cheese. He goes, yeah, those, I don't know how you did it, but those were the best. I was like, really?
Right,
he goes,
and that was news to you.
He says, if I see that in a restaurant on the menu, he says, yours is the gold standard. And I was like, grilled cheese is the gold. And I was like, okay, I put mayo on it, and I did this and that. And this was even before we saw Chef, the movie Chef, with that grilled cheese.
Where you tried to bring it to that level.
Yeah, and that really surprised me because it's like, oh, well, I was just making lunches. To me, I was just making lunches.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I can remember going back to the snacks in Carpool. I can remember trying to talk myself out of that, going, you're spoiling them. They're always going to expect snacks. I'm setting myself up to make. Like when I first started doing it, when they were in first grade or whatever, I thought, don't do this because you're going to have to always roll in here with snacks. And they're not starving, But I tried to talk myself out of it. But my mom brain was like, nope, we're doing it. We're going to do it. This is one of the things I'm going to do as a mother is I'm always going to have a snack. And I'm so glad I did that because that was being true to myself. It's what I truly wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I did it. And I just love that all these years later, it was like, I loved that.
Yeah.
I had no idea they really even didn't know that other moms may not have done that.
Well, for me, similarly with the cooking, I used to, even when the kids were teenagers, and they were at my house on the weekends, I would make lunch. Mm-hmm. And I know as a teenager, you can make your own lunch.
Yes.
But to me, it was just like, hey, what do you want for lunch? I got this, I got this, I got this. I can make it up.
Yeah.
Like a short order cook. And I know
they could.
A lot of parents would say, let the kids make it themselves. But that was one thing I enjoyed. Just like you going, should I bring snacks? Should I not? Should I stop doing this? Mm-hmm. I kept making sandwiches until everybody left the house for good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just because that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. This is the perfect Mother's Day, post-Mother's Day podcast and conversation because not only are moms the one, I guess moms may obsess about it. Grandmothers do the same thing, but maybe they've got the luxury of not really stressing.
Oh, yeah.
It's just they're wired that way to do something that, that makes a difference and that you remember.
Like you earned the right to do it when you're a grandparent.
Right, exactly.
You're like, I'm doing it.
I thought that my grandmother made the best breakfasts for whatever reason. And I'm sure some of that ties to it's not just the food, it's the whole, scene, it's the whole dynamic. Because when we would spend the night at my grandmother's house, and she would do this when she would come on vacation with us too, she was always the first up. Even if you tried to get up early, she was still up earlier than you. I don't know how she did it.
That'll be
but
me.
She was.
You know that. One day.
But at her house, and it was a story and a half house, so the kitchen was below the bedrooms. And so when she started making bacon and eggs and cooking biscuits in the oven, all of that came upstairs, and that was, that was a happy smell to wake up to. Right, exactly. So I'm sure that enhances the fact that she made the best breakfast because it was totally experiential also. Mm-hmm. But that was the same thing like you're saying, Sam. She loved to do that. Her place was the kitchen. She absolutely loved to cook. It was the reason that she would cook even when nobody was there, but it gave her another excuse to be a grandmother because she would portion things out, stick them in the freezer. she had a separate freezer altogether that she kept all of those things in. And so anytime you would go visit, if you were leaving, the first thing she would give you is, hey, honey, you want to take this with you or that with you, some casserole or something that she's made.
Look, I understand that 110%. You can't stop mothering them just because they're in the world now and out from under your roof. It's in you. Thank goodness. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a part of you. You become a parent and it doesn't ever leave you.
Yeah.
I love that.
And it's super.
You do have to be more, you have to be smart about it because you do have to, you shouldn't be making their lunch every meal when they get to a certain age, because how people get confidence is how children get confidence is by doing things for themselves. So don't make their lunch till they're 18 every day.
Yeah.
But on the weekend or whatever, something special, yes, do it because you want to do it. It's a fine line.
To me also, too, it was one of those, and this may sound odd, but to me it was a way of showing them love.
Yes.
I know it's a sandwich, but to me it was love.
It was a snack, but it was love.
Well, that, and you're in a split family situation, too. Yeah. So the things that, make that difference, are good for both them and for you. That makes perfect sense,
Yeah.
You didn't have your kids all the time every single day. So what you did made it, a
quality
a
time versus quantity.
The other thing I was going to say about it, when your kids actually do acknowledge that, it's super sweet, like, Phoebe did also. But I think I thought it was interesting when you said that just now about having them start to learn their own thing. I remember the first time Taylor, our oldest, came and asked us if she could use the stove. And your first thought is, I don't know but then you realize, okay, wait, you are old enough now. We'll just teach the safety. You've got to learn at some point. Now, that's that place as a parent where you're going, okay. And you know what? I mean, she did fine. And after that, at a very young age, she wanted to start to give back on Mother's Day, in fact, making things and stuff like that.
I love it. Yeah. Look, you see, parents like doing things for children, when they're older, and you don't say anything. It's not your business, but it's kind of like you're doing that because you want to, because it's who you are. You're a parent, but it's also there is also that time where you got to realize it would build confidence in a child to make their own lunch. It'll build confidence for them to learn these things, even if they say they don't want to. But when they come to you and ask you, "Can I do this?"
It's like an open invitation.
It is, and they will feel better about themselves for having done that.
Yeah.
Stand a little taller. That's the interesting thing about parenting is it's the greatest feeling, the greatest, most impossible love. But you also, with time, have to slowly let it go. Mm-hmm. Not that you let the love go, but you let the daily control or you loosen the strings.
Yeah.
You have to loosen the strings so that they have their own strings.
Yeah.
Anyway, just talking about it, it was fantastic. And that's another little quick takeaway. As they get older, when they have time with you, it is the greatest gift to just talk about memories. Mm-hmm. And she brought that up. It's a natural thing to do with families, tell stories and bring that all up. It doesn't have to be Mother's Day for that to happen.
Oh, no, it can happen anytime. And they're the greatest. It keeps all of that, alive.
They need to hear those stories, and you need to hear it.
Yeah.
I needed to hear that. I had no idea that they knew that the snack obsession was a thing.
Yeah, I think that's so sweet.
Or that they even, remember it.
Yeah. I miss both of my parents tremendously. My mom, of course, died, I think too young, obviously. She's been gone for 10 years. And I miss being able to have those kinds of conversations with her. I also know that until the day that she passed, if I said there was something I saw in the store that I liked and it was just a casual conversation, it's going to show up, because that's who she was. And
that was her loving you.
Right, exactly. And I was certainly capable of buying those things myself, and probably would have, because you know how I am, Mr. Impulse Buy.
Yeah.
But those things, that's another reason I bring that up, just to say, is because those conversations are not only special in the moment, they're special for the rest of your life, because life does continue to change.
Yes.
And those are the things that you can hold on to even when they're no longer around, which is the case for a lot of people,
And I will bet you that I didn't think of this. This wasn't the plan. It was just my snack obsession for them. But one day, if and when they have children and they're doing pickup in the afternoon, they're going to, they're going to roll in with grapes or whatever, whatever the snack of the day is.
Yeah.
They might very likely take that on because it was given to them.
Mom used to do it, and I loved it, so I'm going to do it for my kids.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe for all of us, you could resurrect the whole Uncrustables thing every afternoon.
Every day.
Maybe so.
Missed any part of the show? Get it all on the Murphy, Sam, and Jodi podcast.